Hey guys, what's up? It's Andrew from travelingguitars.com. Today I'm going to talk to you about, forgetting how to play the instrument. And I'm also going to give you a guide of what I do if I've taken a lot of time off. So I'm just going to answer the question right away. A lot of people like to ask, like, well, do you forget how to play the guitar? And I would say that you can never totally forget how to play the guitar. However, if you take a month's off or even years, I find that my theoretical knowledge in my for instance, the order of semitones and tones in between scales and modes and things like that, I start to forget that stuff. And also, like, my skills aren't quite as sharp. Like, my alternate picking will kind of diminish. My sweeps will get a lot messier. Even they're already pretty messy, but like they get messier. However, after a few months of repeated playing, like maybe even 1 month, like if you play for an hour a day for a month, I find that you can just get back to where you were before. And the reason for this, from what I understand, I'm not a scientist or anything, but I guess you have what's in your brain called neural pathways, which what it's like there's a path being formed in your brain. So when you learn a skill, the paths have been, so you've already went down that path. So now there's a path there. So over time, they kind of degrade if you stop using them. However, it has been formed. So if you start practicing on a regular basis again, like it's just like walking down that path over and over again. So the path becomes clearly defined again. It's kind of like, I compared it in my article to a grass path. If everybody walks on a path every single day, eventually the grass just stops growing and there's a clearly defined path there. There's no, the grass just stops and it's quite clear that there's a place where people are walking. However, if you don't walk on that path for 2 years, it'll start to come back. The grass will start to come back. And that's what playing the guitar is kind of like. Once the path has been formed, especially if you played for 5 years, like if you played for 5 to 10 years, I mean, yeah, it's going to take a lot to forget how to play. I mean, you're going to have to not play it for like 10 years. But anyway, I'm just going to give you a brief outline of my experience of what happens after certain periods of time. I would say at 1 week, for instance, I noticed that I'm a bit rusty. Like my technique is a little messier. However, my knowledge of everything kind of stays the same. Like you don't forget anything after a week. But it's just like you take a little bit of a warm up to get back to normal. After about a month, the songs and exercise I used to be pretty good at start to feel a little frustrating. So I have to, maybe drop down the metronome by 20 beats per minute. And you just start there, maybe do that for a day or two, and then you're about back to normal. Your knowledge of theory and all that stuff kind of stays the same. However, after 1 month, the calluses on your fingers start to go away a little bit. So if you do some heavy bending and stuff, you'll notice that the next day your fingers hurt. After 6 months, still nothing is totally lost. However, your theoretical knowledge was probably going to go down a bit. Your alternate picking and in my case, alternate picking, string skipping, and arpeggios, like all those difficult techniques, they start to sound not nearly as good, and they're not as solid. But I mean, at this point, still nothing goes away, However, at 6 months, those calluses on the end of your fingers, they're pretty much gone, So you're gonna have to build those up again. And then after about a year, one thing I noticed about me after I stopped playing metal for about a year is that like I couldn't do the chugging on the low E string anymore. I'll show you what I mean right now by the chugging. In fact, I can probably not even do it right now. You know how you go, maybe you can see. I mean, it's not bad. I still got it, but it's not as good as it used to be because I used to do that all the time, right? I used to play those songs like all the time when I was younger. I don't really do that anymore. But it's still there. It's just not that great. What else goes away? Oh yeah, your music theory knowledge. Like right now, I haven't practiced. I haven't done interval training in a while, so I can't really identify the distance between notes by ear very well. I haven't done that for a while, so I can't do that. Your calluses will be totally gone. Your fingers will be soft and like gelatin again. It's gonna hurt when you play for a couple days. But I mean, you might even have to take a day or two off after if you play for 4 hours after taking a year off and you're doing a lot of bends and stuff, your fingers are going to be decimated, and you're definitely going to have to take a day or two off to get those to heal and harden again. Yeah, I mean a year, but I mean with all that said, I mean it doesn't completely go away. Like you're not going to forget how to play the instrument after a year. After 5 years, I mean you're going to be pretty rusty. Perhaps 10 years, you might lose it. I've never went 10 years without playing the guitar before. That's a really long time. I imagine that you would just have to. It'd probably take you about 6 months of practicing to get back to where you were. But anyway, I'm going to talk about some of the things that I do when I've taken some time off and I want to get back into it. I would say that number one, I just practice the songs I used to always play the most. Like for instance, I would play like "It's Not Safe to Swim Today" from Veil of Maya. That's a dope song. I love it. It has a nice combination of the type of exercises the type of techniques that you'll find in other songs. It's a nice mix. There's not a ton of bends in it or anything, but it's definitely a great warm-up song. Another one is Serena. I don't know how to pronounce it. Serena from Jason Becker. That's a great sweep picking song. I still don't know how to play it, but I can play it maybe slowed down. That's a good way to practice your sweeps. I mean, if you can play the sweeps in that song, you can probably play the sweeps in any song. Another one is Ben Ehlers' Monster Alternate Picking Exercise. You can see that in this tab right here with what that looks like. It's kind of like the typical chromatic exercise. However, it's a bit different in the sense that it practices downstrokes and upstrokes equally. So I'll show you what it sounds like. That's what the tab looks like, but here's what it looks like on the guitar. Maybe you can see. Rather than doing the regular one, which is frankly not that useful, what you do is you go. So yeah, that's what you do. I love that exercise. I'm still not that good at it, frankly. I've been practicing it for a while, and I'm still quite slow. I haven't got it up to 160 beats per minute, that's for sure. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing. Use backing tracks. I love to use hip-hop songs. I think they're really easy to solo over. There's typically only 3 chords in a hip-hop song. There's no key signature changes. There's no tempo changes. The songs aren't very complex. Very easy to play over. Very easy to figure out the key immediately in the songs. And that backing tracks and random songs like that just from a Spotify playlist, it's great for 4 different things. The ability to figure out a song's key signature, the chords in that relevant key signature, and then I practice the arpeggios for each chord in that key, and just general improvisation technique. I mean, it's a great way to practice, and it's just fun. It's super fun. Also, musictheory.net. That's a fantastic website with all kinds of key music theory stuff. I definitely recommend checking that out. And also, you want to make sure you have a metronome or a click track. I don't know where my metronome is. It's over there. Yeah, you want a metronome. I got one of the more classic ones. I got this bad boy. My sister got it for me for Christmas a few years back. I love it. It's super dope. Use it all the time. And frankly, yeah, that's it. So in conclusion, to wrap things up, no, you can't really you can't forget how to play the guitar completely. You just, your skills would just kind of diminish over time, but you're not going to completely lose it, unless you get your hand chopped off or something, but I guess that's different. Yeah. Anyway, that's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to check out the link for this article where I kind of explain everything, talk about my experiences a bit. But anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Have a nice day.